The crypto market is seeing a sizable drawdown right now, and Bitcoin is losing major support. In this video, I'm going to be telling you what I believe is happening next, whether this is going to be a local top for the market and then we come down, or whether this is simply just a liquidity grab and we're going to be moving up very quickly after. If that sounds interesting, please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Check out my Blowfin link down below to get yourself some free money when you sign up to the best exchange, and check out some of the benefits you can get even for free with my group and membership options down below. So as I said, Bitcoin has lost its 111,800 level of support. You can see that that level was the previous all-time high that we made on the breakout move back in May. We then came down to use that as support, which Bitcoin usually likes to do. It likes to use previous all-time highs and flip the previous high into support. We then did that again, and now we are falling down below it. And this is off the back of a whale wallet selling a huge amount of Bitcoin, causing basically a scam wick. I don't know if you guys saw it last night, but we saw a crazy wick straight down. I think it was about 4 grand on Bitcoin. The wick just brought it down in minutes. And you can see that over $250 million worth of longs were liquidated in a 30-minute period as a result of that. Now, the question is, what is next for Bitcoin? Obviously, the next level would be 109K. That is the most obvious macro level for Bitcoin. So I'm going to move down this blue line to that 109K level and hope that if we come down to that, we can get some liquidity and we can get a bounce. Because if we fall below 109K, that is where I start to potentially get a little bit worried about the cyclical strength of Bitcoin. Because at this point in the cycle, Bitcoin should not be dumping. It should be in a parabolic stage, making new highs almost every other week that you check the chart. Whereas right now, we've had a few consecutive weeks of lackluster price action. Even though we still came up for a higher high here, it was, felt like manipulation. It just didn't feel like a true high, because it was just marginally higher. So 109K would be the obvious level for me to watch. If we were to lose that, that's where I start looking at something like the Gaussian channel and hoping that we don't close below it. We came down to the Gaussian channel back in April, and we used it as support to get another bounce to the upside. We also came down to the Gaussian channel at that low from, remember, that drawn out summer of consolidation. We came down and used that at 49K. We then used it again at 52K. So this channel provides excellent support, macro support for Bitcoin in the event of another fall down. Now, I hope it doesn't get hit on this retracement, but we just need to bear in mind this is a major level. And if Bitcoin loses 109K, I would start to think about this level potentially. Okay, maybe 104, it's possible. 102 to 104 is somewhat of a level. Maybe, 98, but there's nothing really super clear to me pointing to a support level if we were to lose 109. And for that reason, I would be looking at the Gaussian channel as a potential support level. And if that was lost, that would signify the start of a Bitcoin bear market. Now, when it comes to altcoins, it's a bit of a different picture because Bitcoin dominance has been dropping like a fly the past few weeks, something which I called exactly at the top at 66%. I called it on the channel and I said that was the top for Bitcoin dominance. If you've got a ton of Bitcoin, it might be smart moving some of it into the altcoin market. And that's exactly what we've seen happen. Okay, and Total 3 really remains relatively weak. It's still below its all-time highs. We're not seeing a great deal going on with Total 3. The main avenue of pumping has been Ethereum, which just made a new all-time high yesterday, followed by this correction. Now, the interesting thing is altcoins actually look ready. Altcoins look ready to move up swiftly, whereas Bitcoin, to me, it looks stagnant, it looks weak, it just looks like most of the momentum is now out of this trade. And whilst I still think it will go higher, whilst I still think we'll see Bitcoin probably hit the 1.618 fib level, which is around 130K, I just think some of this momentum is starting to lose its steam. And that is actually a good thing for the altcoins. Now, despite the fact that in 2021, most altcoins topped out before Bitcoin, in 2017, most of the altcoins actually topped out after Bitcoin. So it's very possible altcoins continue a rally for a few weeks after a Bitcoin cyclical top. I'm not saying that will happen, but it's very, very possible is what I'm saying. And due to the fact that Ethereum still hasn't made a definitive clear high, it's not made a clear price discovery breakout yet, I still think we're going to get that. I still think we've got an Ethereum probably going to somewhere around 5.8K as a minimum. And I think we'll get to that level maybe in the next few weeks, the way things are looking. And total 3, I think we'll go to the 1.618 fib around the $1.48 trillion mark. Total 3 still has not made a definitive all-time high this bull run. And don't even get me started on the others chart, because the others chart, I mean, that's just right down doom and gloom in the lows. So I'm looking at Bitcoin. I'm thinking it's starting to lose a bit of steam, but the altcoins are starting to pick up. Everything to me is pointing towards a sustained period of altcoin outperformance, which is the very definition of an altcoin season. We've had multiple weeks now of drawdowns on Bitcoin dominance, which essentially started back in June, and now we're heading into September, and we're still in this clear downtrend for Bitcoin dominance. So right now, I, alongside my VIP members, we're looking for the best trades in the markets. We're looking at the best breakouts. And if you want to follow my personal moves in the market, then check out the VIP and also sign up to Blowfin to use the best exchange for actually trading these cryptos. So, guys, what would I be buying right now? Well, Solana, to me, looks ready to pump. It's something which has been suppressed a lot, in my opinion. And the fact that Ethereum's pumping first means usually Solana will pump second, because everyone knows Solana is really the biggest catch-up trade to Ethereum. It's the biggest competitor to Ethereum. It's in the Ethereum killer sector. And once Ethereum makes a big move and it consolidates, usually the torch is passed on to Solana to then make a big move. And then when Solana does it, you're probably looking at something like Sui doing it. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we see this money flow play out as it traditionally does, where it goes Bitcoin first, which we've had now, then Ethereum, then Solana, and then Sui, and then you start to get into more of the blue chips, the mid caps, etc., right? And you get outside of just the top 10. You start to look at some other blue chips. And I'd be looking at maybe Ondo as a good play. I'd be looking at Say as a good play once it breaks this downward slope and resistance. Casper has smart contracts coming out August 31st. That could be a potential catalyst to break it out of this downtrend and bring it back into an uptrend. So overall, I'm looking at the altcoins and I'm thinking there's some really good buys out there. I wouldn't necessarily be in a huge rush to buy something like Aerodrome, because I was buying this thing as low as 39 cents down in the lows, okay? When the fear was through the roof, when everyone was panicking, I was buying Aerodrome down there, and we've made some nice gains since then. I wouldn't necessarily be buying anything really on Ethereum or Base, despite the fact I still think they'll go up a lot more. I just think there's better value plays outside of the Ethereum ecosystem now. Looking at things in the Solana ecosystem, looking at things in the Sui ecosystem, and just in general looking at competitor layer ones to ETH, because Ethereum has now had a pretty good run. Obviously, I don't think it's over, but it's made a major move, guys. Look at Ethereum here on the 3-month candle. This is one of the most crazy 3-month candles I've ever seen, you know, for a blue chip crypto. I mean, you know, you wouldn't think it's 2025. This is the type of move Ethereum would make back in 2017. So things are looking good. I'm just waiting personally for a weekly close confirmation above the major resistance on Ethereum. It still hasn't done that because previous weekly close was a bit of a disappointing close. Okay, you know, it was still bullish, but we closed below the pivotal resistance that we needed to close above. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. We obviously have Jerome Powell coming out September 17th, I believe it is, and he's going to be most likely cutting rates. The real question for me is, what is the situation going forward after September? Are we going to get a rate cut in October? And if Powell indicates cuts in the future after September, I think the markets could start pumping even after the September FOMC. However, if he indicates September is just a one-off rebalancing cut and we're not going to see a cutting cycle to follow, then I probably think we could see some form of a potential local or even macro top in September for risk-on markets. Guys, appreciate you watching the video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, check out the VIP group down below if you want to see what I'm doing in the markets in real time, and get yourselves on Blowfin using my sign up link down below. Make sure you use that link because you'll get major bonuses that you won't get elsewhere. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.